All right. Well, here I am, back to talk more about politics. And one thing I've been thinking about a lot recently is just how much people on both sides, especially the left, but definitely, I mean, the right does as well, but they tend to demonize the others. And then what I mean by that is if you're in another political party, if you're a Republican, if you voted for Trump, people on the left, I see this a lot on Reddit, I've seen it on Twitter, and I know those aren't real, like, of course there's real people there, but there's also a lot of bullshit happening on there. But besides that, there's a lot of people that I've seen this opinion out there, which if you voted for if you voted for Trump, it's because you're actually racist and sexist, and you want to just have the opportunity to just hate on those groups outwardly. And I just think it like ignores so much and it oversimplifies. And the right does this as well. Like both sides of people can't understand why people would do something like vote for the opposite party. Like to me it's trying to boil down, it's trying these people are you're trying to understand them without actually knowing them, or without getting to know that what their level of reasoning is on a deeper level. So say with the election, we had Trump and we had Kamala Harris, and in my opinion they were both fucking awful options. They were terrible options for president. I think Kamala, I mean, to me, she just didn't have a clear vision, and she couldn't go on Joe Rogan, and she chose not to go on Joe Rogan. But I think it's because she just couldn't articulate her opinions. I don't think I don't think she knew she was gonna be a presidential option when she became. She just kind of became like, well, once she's Joe Biden 2.0. So if you're a conservative and you would think another 4 years that Joe Biden would destroy this country. I don't think that's rational in any capacity or sense. But hey, that's what you believe. And Kamala comes by and says, "Oh, I go along with everything Joe Biden says. I'm Joe Biden 2.0." Then you have Trump, who I think was an awful option for president, and you have Kamala, another awful option for president. And these are two ideas, like, I want to talk about this election more in the future, so we'll get into that. But if you have two terrible options, what are you probably going to lean towards? In my opinion, you're probably going to lean towards whatever political spectrum you land on. So if you're a conservative, you're going to vote for whoever the conservative is. Because it's not, if you think Biden's awful and Trump is awful, but Trump's more conservative than Biden, then and more conservative than Kamala, then you're going to vote conservative. So this idea of like 70 million people voted him because they hate women and they hate trans people is beyond outlandish, and just is so like boiling it down to one little thing. It's because they hate people and they want them right to hate people. And yeah, I mean, I need to get more into this topic because I have a lot of opinions around similarly. But regardless, it's like it drives me nuts to see people think that the only reason they did things is so they could be hateful. Like it just boils it down. It oversimplifies it in a way that doesn't help. It doesn't explain things. I think you need to look into why people act the way they do. And why do they do things what they do, instead of just when you take those other people and their opinions and you just boil them down and you kind of put them in a box, but you actually don't understand these people without like. That's a good a good point to that is like, how do you get the other side? How do you get the other opinion? How do you understand the opinions of the other side? For me, I look on both sides of I go on websites, I go on Fox News, I go on Reddit for the lefties, I go on conservative and liberal websites because I want to understand what each side is really thinking. I don't want to have this like really skewed idea of these people, and like they just, you don't understand who your enemy is, and that these are people. These, like, you dehumanize them if you just say, oh, they're Nazis. You don't, there's more complexity and more depth to these people that you misunderstand, and that allows you, that's why a lot of people, I think, in the 2024 election didn't see Trump winning, which, mind you, I'm not some poli-sci, like, I don't know, I don't have a degree or anything, but I saw Trump winning really far out. Like, I really thought months before, I was like, I don't want it. By the way, I did not vote for Trump. But I didn't, I saw that, I saw the tea leaves. I saw the little thing, I was like, I think he's gonna win. And a lot of people on the left did not. They came out of way left, out of left field. And to me, that just speaks to how people don't understand. They're like, oh, he's a Nazi, so nobody will vote for him. Like, well, you just don't understand the political situation. You don't understand what you're talking about. You just see it from your lens. It is rose colored, however you want to see it. You see it from your lens, and you can't possibly see what's other people. But there are good people that voted for him. And you can't if you can't understand that, then you're not going to understand what happens in the future. You're not going to understand what makes these people click. And that's just one thought I've had. So, yeah.